Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SWAN Pricing Show. My name is Filip Vucic. I'm a pricing mentor.
And I'm Filip Zolota, the owner of Growth Marketing Agency Malaya. Welcome.
And indeed, today we're going to talk about unfortunate truths of the market, or why it doesn't matter that you're right. I talk a lot with engineers and engineering types, and I think they take these things the hardest because there's a lot of things in their life and their work life that hinges on them being right, and them knowing that they're right, and them being able to calculate that what they are claiming is the actual truth, right? But when it comes to, well, matters of value communication, the perceived truth is the one that counts, even if the objective truth is something completely different. And of course, that's a case with the things that we call the duck market, the duck pricing, right? So the common commoditized products, but mainly services that we're talking about, as opposed to the SWAN services, the expertise-based services. Of course, there are cases of perceived quality and perceived truth being the main thing there as well. But there's a difference because in the commoditized space, we're mainly talking about value that is based on common understandings and common facts and commonly known wisdom, and so the buyers are much closer to the objective truth because they can check more easily. They have more places to check. They have more means to check. In many of our businesses, many of our industries, there's simply no way to check. I cannot really know which lawyer is better for me. Not really. I can ask around if somebody has some experiences, and maybe people have some and maybe people have none, and maybe I'm in a new place and I don't know anybody, so I trust strangers on the internet, or I don't. There's not really a place to check. Like, you can check, have you received the beer that you ordered, or is the car clean or not? Right? You can easily check that, and there's no way to check. Or my go-to thing is like translation into something completely foreign to me, like, Korean or something. How the hell do I know a good translation from a complete jumble? you know so because they can't check, they're sometimes even more suspicious, even more careful. So it ends up being a much greater gap between the perceived truth and the actual truth, the objective truth. And so why do I think it's important to talk about this? And I would like to hear your opinion as well. But when people say, yeah, I know people usually don't really see this factor, feature, fact as important, but if they apply themselves and learn some more about it, yeah, but they won't. If they just read through the simplified text on my webpage, yeah, but they won't. They won't. Nobody is going to do that. Not enough people that you can live off the people that you do. Nobody has time for that. That we don't live in a way that's conducive to sitting down and trying to understand somebody's web pages. It's not a thing, right?
Yep.
So a message that would be very useful and correct if only somebody took 2 minutes to read it is still useless, because nobody will take time to read it. And we talked about here about before about the curse of knowledge, I think recently. So when you know something, you forget how it is not to know that. So you know that the facts that you present, the features that you offer, that's something that people really need. But if they don't remember that they need it, if they don't realize that they need it or how much they need it, they're just going to buy something else that doesn't have it and be happy with it and be wrong, but that's beside the point, right? You can't eat being right. You had an example for this. Go on.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And also what I wanted to mention, it's a clear fact, and the market shows you the right situation. There are so many projects, concepts, and the ideas which never flourished. Why? Because the perspective was wrong. There was the people who started some respectable project, they were seeing only from their perspective and wearing their glasses. But
yeah,
the unfortunate truth showed them otherwise. But yeah, it would be good for them. It doesn't work. If it doesn't work, don't insist on it. And that is the problem, as you mentioned a few minutes ago about the engineers. They have definitely a hard time to accept that painful fact. In the end, if some things don't work, don't insist on them, change the perspective, and in the end, when we are talking about providing some level of expertise, service, or whatever, you need to always take into the account and consideration the other side, your client perspective, and how that will be bringing that knowledge and service will be bringing the value to their respectable business and help them in the end grow.
Yeah, so you reminded me of a software engineer I talked about a couple of years ago, and so we had a successful work together project, and he said, okay, and if you know somebody that needs a software made for them, you can mention my name. I said, I'll be glad to do that, but basically nobody needs a software. And he looked at me like I grew another head. He said, half the world runs on software. I said, yes, but people don't run software because they want software. They want something out of software so I did have a client later on that said, oh man, I need another secretary. My first one is already overworked and I need this and this done. So do you know any good secretaries to recommend? And I said, man, you don't need a secretary, you need a software. Yeah. But his answer was fine, whatever, right? Fine, yeah, software, right? Okay, carrier pigeons, a very smart dog. I don't care.
Whatever works.
Whatever works. So if it turns out to be software, fine. Just get this off my plate, right? How much, how soon, and that's it. That's the thing that. So people don't go around saying, "Oh man, I need this software." I mean, software engineers do. I would like to make a software, but usually users don't really think about that in that way. Some people say, well, I want to build an app. Sure. But if somebody found out the way to use crystals in a way, or black chickens, doesn't really matter. That's solved. So black chickens it's something else that I used to say. If Google stopped using computing and started sacrificing black chickens at midnight, getting you the same results on your computer, 99.9 people on Google users wouldn't notice or care.
Yeah.
Or pixie dust, or shoveling a mixture of cocaine and speed into servers. Nobody cares how the sausage is made, right? Nobody cares.
Yeah, and that there is a great example, especially in the engineer world. There are so many bespoke custom solutions. What does it mean? I don't need bespoke custom solution. I need specific solution which resolves my problem, and that's it. The messed up communication and approach to presenting what you are doing, as you mentioned with your guy about software. Yeah, but everybody needs a software. Okay, which type of software, which specific problem your software is resolving? That is the point.
Yeah. So not to rip too much on engineers. They're just the worst cases, but not the only ones, right? I probably mentioned somebody who has nothing to do with software, who does photography. So I asked him, so what do you offer to people? He said, are you dense? I'm a photographer. I provide photographs. And I said, no, you don't. I can have a photograph. I have a mobile phone, right? I can do a photograph right now. Well, he said, yeah, but you won't look professional on it. Yeah, but I'll have a photograph. I'll have a picture, right? So you're not providing pictures. You're providing the sense of seriousness, right? That's what that's your job. You happen to be doing that with photographic equipment and a studio and Photoshop and all the good things. But you have to know that what people want to get out of you is not a photograph. They can do that themselves. They want a photograph that looks serious, but that's a different kind of a thing, right? So what you sell and what people buy are frequently two different things. So again, to go away from the engineers, I've talked to a lawyer, as a long career guy, that doesn't really get why people take his services, right? They want to get rid, in his case, they want to get rid of stuff that's holding them back from doing their real work, which is not appearing in court. Right? So he's a shield. That's what he is. He's armor, right? Against a certain type of attack, let's say, to quote it in some fantasy tone, right? And it's a completely different kind of a job from somebody that is used to attack, or is used to preemptively attack so that you don't get attacked, or that it is used to resolve a really tough issue. These are not tough issues for most of his clients. These are annoying, persistent, pestering things that pull them out of things that they have to do to waste their time. And it's all law. It's all, legal practice. But these are different kinds of reasons why somebody hires him and not somebody else. So anyway, there's the idea that the client would should understand, because it's in their best interest, is again connected to how much more you know about that specific aspect of a client's need than they do. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating when you can see just how much value you can bring to somebody and they don't. And I don't know, I've been in this situation many times where I'm struggling to find the words to describe to the client what we can achieve together. And they're like, yeah, but, do I get a document out of that? Maybe. That's not the point. I mean, it's like if I'm selling ice cream and somebody says, yeah, but do I get, that little umbrella there, right? That's You wanted to forget about the umbrella. You wanted to save the cost of the umbrella. I got you there, dude. Whatever.
Yeah, people are always commenting and seeing from the perspective of their respectable niches. If the guys from administration or law, the document is a product. In some other niche, something else, as you mentioned, the ice cream. So yeah, that has a tendency to be very creative and very interesting. And you're looking at what?
You're right. I haven't realized that, but like people who deal with code, they usually ask for source files and these things, because in their industry, source code is like yeah. I haven't connected that before. You're completely right. Okay, so the unfortunate truth that we're talking about is that things, so sales wise, let's say price wise, things matter only if clients think they matter. And this is where people say, yeah, and so I know I have to educate my market. Sure. I don't know how you look at that, but usually it's just easier to work with people who already know at least enough to respect what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to have a system in place in terms of segmentation. People who are not on the same pages with you, it's meaningless to enter any kind of business cooperation, because the end goal will be what? Nothing. You'll be educating, helping, and supporting with zero results, because you need to remove all the bad teachings and obstacles to get to the fertile ground. And then you're already exhausted. You lost 2 years of work, and what is the future? That is very problematic, because people are on the market. You'll see, as you mentioned, you need to educate. Okay, but there is a top cap. You cannot work with those people with whom you don't have adequate alignment. If they don't understand and have a tendency to be micromanagers, that is a big no-no. People who don't understand and don't want to know, as you mentioned today previously, but they simply say, okay, I need a solution for this. I don't give a damn what is the right path, what you need to do, just do it. That is very close to the ideal case and scenario, where there is a big discrepancy and big gap in terms of expert service and professional, and the level of understanding and knowledge of your client and customer for that respectable problem, solution, or challenge that they have. And yeah, very often people insist on push. Yeah, I'll educate. That becomes their lifelong mission, and it is already predetermined to fail. So you need to set up the proper and healthy top cap in the approach.
If the difference is too great, then you simply you get to a point where you are pushing your narrative, but at the same time there's an ulterior motive for you to push the narrative. So if I ring your doorbell and I say, there's something wrong with your roof, you should pay me a lot of money to fix it, and you look at your roof and you say, there's nothing wrong, and maybe I'm right, maybe that's I figured out brilliantly some structural defect in the inflection of whatever, and I can calculate that, and now I just need like a couple of hours to show you that you're completely wrong. It really doesn't matter if I'm right or not. And the client may be sorry when his half of his roof collapses. You'll be long gone by then. He'll long forget who you were. It's unfortunate. It's completely unfortunate. And I wish it was different, but it's not. And simply because it would be great if it was so, if it would be just if it was so, If it's mathematically provable that it is so, no. No. And this is what I wanted to say with the roofing. Of course you don't believe me because I have an ulterior motive. Because if you do allow me the couple of hours to mathematically prove that I'm right, then you have to come up with a large amount of money that you weren't planning on spending on your roofing. So I'm psychologically, I would start to say, of course, this guy tries this hard to convince me because he'll gain a lot of money if I come around to his side. So if the gap is too great, it's simply not worth it because fairly soon people are going to basically stop listening because if they do go on, they're going to owe you money. And if they don't see a reason to do this in the first place, it's simply not going to work, right? It's going to work way too late. And like Blair says, the longer you have to do the pre-sales stuff and go into meetings and figure things out all for free, of course, the more and more desperate you become because your investment in this deal is huge.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing gets skewed.
Yeah.
Because mostly when you know what you're doing, the clients are those who need you. You don't necessarily need clients in general, but you don't need this specific one, right? Each specific one can, bring you 3 or 4% of your yearly revenue, which is nice and it's important, but it doesn't have to be this one. And they're going to have to look far and wide to find somebody else who can do the same thing for their roof. So I know it's frustrating. I fully realize that, but it's better to know that it's frustrating and accommodate that in some way, speak in simpler language than is usually acceptable within your peer group, because your terms start to be too vague, and your colleagues would say, that's completely meaningless because this could mean this or that. But your target audience knows what you mean.
Yeah. And in the
Right?
end, what people often forget, it is okay to say no. I have one example a few days ago.
Yeah.
One guy landed into our agency pipeline. I don't know how, but okay, whatever. And the guy needed the agency services. And so he contacted us from the real estate and whatever. We were on a call, and guy said in one moment, yeah, but all your agencies are the same, blah, blah. You can only be polite, say thank you, and help him go. That's it. If the person don't understand and don't want to dig deeper, who am I or who are you to try to educate him or whatever, it's meaningless. The only thing which will be happening, you'll be frustrated, prolonged communication, and the result is the same. The result is zero.
Yes.
So you could save your time and his time also.
Yes.
And you both win in that case.
It can work only, like you said, if somebody has the trust and respect for you. So I worked with a great architect.
Mm-hmm.
And we worked together on a let's say a slogan, a tagline that says, he's the architect that reads minds. Because usually when his clients come into the space for the first time and say, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't even know how to tell you this, but yeah, that's the thing, right? Okay. And so after he did many jobs for this rich person, they took him to a newly bought plot of land on an island.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, look, in like a year and a half, it's going to be summer. right? It's going to be summer solstice, and I want to be up there on my balcony drinking that wine. Okay? Yeah? Good? Don't call me. You don't ask. I don't have the time. Just make it happen. It costs what it costs. If I can be there at that time and drink that wine on that balcony, we're good.
Yeah.
Just, send me the bills. So
Yeah.
that kind of trust, then they don't have to know what you're doing. Then they don't have to understand. They know what they want to achieve. They know they can finance that. And of course, if he did something completely out of character, and this ended up costing 6 times more then of course he would lose the trust. But of course he didn't. And he landed many more projects with that client. But so if somebody knows and understands or simply trusts you enough, yeah, you can do magic for them, right? But to somebody that comes to you and say, oh, I mean, it's such a psychological trick, right? Well, all agencies are the same. Yeah, okay. You have no idea what you're doing. Get out. Smile and wave. Smile and wave, right?
We show the best. That's it.
So, exactly, because I mean, it's also the clients in your case, the client's ulterior motive to establish, to get you to agree that you are all the same, because then your negotiation position slips way back, right? But you don't have to play that game. Why the hell would you, right? Right. I think that's not everything that we can say about unfortunate truths, but I think it's enough for today.
I agree. We covered the topic pretty much good. So yeah.
We made sure that no engineers will want to hear our show from now on. So I think, I mean, we backed off from engineers like after maybe 10 minutes or so. But
yeah. But we love engineers. Just so many good material from that respectable ground. We simply couldn't move from that, and that's it.
It's hard to resist. Cool. Philip, where can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn and also on my agency page, moi.agency. And I switched my consultancy practice to another domain. So it is philipzolota.com now, not anymore moi.consulting, because we left that for the agency activities. So the fresh one is philipzolota.com.
Cool. So I'm also fairly active on LinkedIn, and also my main page is fearless-pricing.com. Right. Thank you, everyone who remained. You're brave indeed. See you next time.
See you. Take care. Bye.